Hi, Samita. Welcome to our Women Leadership Spotlights. We're excited to have you today. So tell us more about yourself.
Well, first, thank you for having me. Um, as you said, my name is Samita Ali-Khan. I am a partner at Foley Hoag LLP. I graduated from the University of Chicago Law School with a JD.
What's a distinct memory you have about University of Chicago and or the law school?
So it's been several years now, but I have this one memory, and a part of me thinks that I might have exaggerated over the years, but another part of me thinks that it's quintessentially UChicago, so I do think it's true. But I remember there being like a snowstorm, temperatures were in the something unfathomable, like -40. And schools were closed across the city at risk of pneumonia, but UChicago stayed open, and I have this visual memory of people skiing to class because the snow was so much in the city.
I'm not surprised, and I'm sure lots of people have similar memories. Were there a favorite restaurant that you liked to go to in Hyde Park?
I feel like I spent most of my time outside of Hyde Park, if I'm going to be honest.
Okay. So tell us a little bit more about what you do as a partner at your law firm.
Sure. So I specifically practice in capital markets. And while that means that I do a variety of things for my clients, the primary thing that I do for them is help them in the capital raising space. So when they want money for acquisitions or just to expand their business or their operations, I'll help them on that. On the legal side of that. So that's usually when they're looking to raise hundreds of millions of dollars or some odd billion, then I would help them on that side.
That sounds like a lot of important work that you do.
Hmm.
Okay. And what motivates you in your job? And perhaps also tell us a little bit more about why you chose to go to University of Chicago Law School.
Yeah, what motivates me, I would say, is a lot of the client work that I do. It's very client facing, and like I said, because of the amount of money that's being raised in most of the transactions that I do, clients are super happy. They're able to do what they want with their business going forward, and so that always feels impactful. In terms of why I chose UChicago, I think at the time I just really liked the prospect of going Midwest. I was always an East Coast girl, New York specifically, and I had never been that West at the time. So I thought that prospect was nice. And I thought, 3 years, I can be at a really good school and I can come back to New York.
Excellent. And how has University of Chicago influenced your way of thinking?
Um, I think in a really substantial way. So I think my critical thinking skills now are great, and I think a lot of that has to do with my learning at UChicago. I think on another aspect, though, UChicago helped me figure out how to speak to people that didn't necessarily think the way that I did. And that was often very difficult, but I think that is a skill that I definitely use all the time now as well.
Excellent. And how did UChicago, what impact did UChicago have on your career?
That was also pretty substantial. So I got my first job, I think, because of the alumni connections. So the hiring partner at the time of the first law firm that I went to after I graduated was a UChicago alum, and I think that resonated when we spoke in our interview. And I think that was one of the big things that helped me land that job. And the name recognition has been great and that it's carried me throughout my career.
If you had to give some advice to law school students right now at University of Chicago or early career associates or incoming associates, what would you tell them about working law firm, becoming a leader, becoming a partner throughout this journey that you've had so far?
I think I can say like good and bad things. So I think, if I'm being honest, it's really hard. I think going through UChicago is really hard. I think starting in the legal world is really hard, particularly if you're a minority. But I also think that, you are learning really, really transferable skills. So whatever feels hard now, like it is building something in you, whether that's character or critical thinking skills or other types of skills that you can carry throughout your life, not just in the legal world and the professional world, but also just casually, personally, and everything like that. So I guess advice wise is, stick it out. And I think one of the things that at least this series is teaching me, and these conversations with you, Joyce, it's teaching me is that, there is this network of UChicago alum that is ready to support each other. So I think tapping into that is also a really good idea.
And what advice would you give to alumni in general, especially now with the economy not doing so great, and there are lots of both young alumni and mid-career alumni looking at different opportunities? What career advice would you give to people, because you've been very successful in your journey and you have
Thank you.
accomplished a lot in a very short period of time?
I think, two of the things that has carried me throughout life is resilience and self-compassion. I actively advocate for those things and I preach about it if you give me the time to do that. So that's what I think I would give as advice. Like it's hard now. And hopefully I think we're all fingers crossed thinking that it's not going to be hard forever. So being resilient and knowing that even if it's not your time now to land whatever you're trying to land, like that will come. And I think that self-compassion piece is a really important one as well, because you do your best. Your best changes hour to hour, day to day, but you will get there.
And last question, Samita, for you. Are you a coffee drinker or a tea drinker? Let's take a fun question.
I am an iced coffee girl in and out.
Well, thank you so much for your time and for being amazing alumna for University of Chicago. And we look forward to your continued success.
Thank you so much.